Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Spring Championship event of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. Good morning to all of you in the audience. Up very early, but I'm very happy to have you here. And of course, hello to everyone on stream just now tuning in. Of course, I know a lot of Europeans are probably awake and eager to see today's action of StarCraft 2. I'm Axel Toss. I'm joined by Axlav. How you doing?
It's amazing today, man. We started on Friday with a 128-player open bracket. Over the last 2 days, it's dwindled down to only 8 players left on Championship Sunday.
8 players left, and we're going to go ahead and name them. Of course, I think we're about to go to the bracket on my screen. Of course, a lot of electric action yesterday. Hero taking out Sage, Hyun over Sound, and then with the amazing best of 3 of Hyun versus Hero. Hyun taking the 2-1 victory there. He's going to be in the final of that bracket. Of course, we got Sound versus Sage coming up very soon. Winner of that plays Hero, winner of that plays Hyun. As we scroll on along down the screen, the last non-Korean remaining in this tournament is Naniwa. Of course, some people argue Polt. I know we got a lot of USA chants yesterday.
I mean, he goes to university in Texas, right?
He does.
I mean, he's gone to actually multiple universities. He's gone to university in Korea and in Texas. So definitely a man of both worlds there. A true American and Korean hero.
And oh boy, was he looking good. Was he looking good yesterday?
He was fantastic. I mean, I honestly thought Deer might be unstoppable. Deer just plowed through all the favorites. He had probably the roughest road to the winners round 6.
Yep.
And then Polt said, you know what? He says, yeah, I am Polt. Team Polt.
Yeah, he's looking incredible this tournament. A lot of people's favorites to honestly make it all the way to the championship and even take it. But again, we have some people in the lower bracket. They're going to have something to say about that. First up on this stream, we're going to have Jaedong versus Naniwa. I know a lot of people are excited for that one. Of course, the winner plays against Deer, and then the winner of Deer versus the winner of Jaedong and Naniwa plays against Polt. So plenty of awesome StarCraft 2 coming your way today. Which match are you most excited for?
Honestly, the Jaedong versus both Naniwa and Deer, I'm super excited for because Deer earlier beat Jaedong. You can see there in winners round 5, 2-0, and he looked extremely convincing.
Yes.
But then, everyone's saying, oh, Jaedong, his weakest matchup is EVP. He goes up against Stats, and he takes down Stats 2-0, and Stats is one of the best Protosses in the world. Extremely, I mean, he's KT Rolster, his best Protoss player from the Pro League team. So he goes up, takes down Stats 2-0, and now he's up against Nano, and this could be a crazy rematch. I mean, we've seen him play before, and in that case, Nano won. But Jaedong, he just beat Stats, who's a legendary Protoss. Nano was looked on fire against STC. He demolished his rival Huck earlier, so I'm really excited to see that match. I can see anyone get through it, and I know Deer is eager to have a rematch against Polt.
8 players left, a lot of money on the line, also a lot of WCS points on the line. Now, we already have some stats to give you as far as WCS points are concerned. They have been determined for the 9th through 16th players. Of course, 9th through 12th being Sase, the STC, Sue, and Stats, each receiving 150 WCS points. And of course, 13th through 16th being Huck, Hart, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and QXC, all receiving 75 points each for how far along they got in this tournament. Of course, Huck and QXC being the last, I guess, North Americans to be in this tournament. So a huge shout out to them. Of course, WCS points that are on the line today. First place gets 750 points. Second place, 450. Third and fourth, 300. And 5th through 8th gets 225. And of course, if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, the WCS circuit culminates in the BlizzCon finals at the end of the year, the World Finals in November. The top 16 players with the most WCS points qualify and are invited to that event, and every little point matters. And I think like Hero is one of those guys who's honestly already so far in this tournament, and I think he already has the most, I want to say.
Of the players in this tournament, yes.
Overall, though, I think Innovation might.
Innovation and Sulky both have him.
Okay, so Hero's up there, though.
He's like number 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So
Hero set himself up nicely in the points department, and definitely going to help his cause in this tournament. Already getting top 8. We'll have to see how he does. Of course, some other things we got to go over here today. I want to give a huge shout out to our community casters that participated throughout the weekend. Of course, we had the NASL stream, of course, involving Greedtor, Frodan, Mr. Bitter, and Rotterdam. They did a great job throughout the entire weekend. A huge shout out to them. And of course, all of our community streams. We had Stream A, we had Sham2, Zoya, and Buddha for Stream B. A Giant Smurf was the observer, actually, for all the WCS America stuff. he was hosting Stream B along with Mr. Llama and Project, and of course Stream C, Vex, Zombie Grub, and Word, and in Stream D, Promise, Nightshade, and Jouge. Of course, you might not necessarily recognize a lot of these folks, but they worked long and hard to give you all a lot of additional StarCraft 2 over the entire weekend. So huge shout out, huge thanks to them for doing such an awesome job. And of course, I'm really looking forward to actually going back and watching a lot of those VODs, because obviously I was casting a lot yesterday, so I wasn't necessarily able to watch all that action. So really looking forward to that. Yeah, just big shout out to them.
Of course, the Twitch page.
Yes.
Go to the twitch.tv/MLG SC2 A, B, C, or D. Grab all those VODs from those community casts. There's a lot of amazing games here. I mean, they caught the QXC versus Scrubby match.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was one of the most, like, I haven't seen the games yet, but for someone who loves American StarCraft, I love Grubby too. I mean, Warcraft. I played Warcraft. He was, probably the best overall Warcraft player outside of Korea, at least for sure.
Yeah.
But that was an amazing upset, because Grubby is one of the top favorites in Europe and a very strong region, and for QXC to go up there and take him down, a very, very big showing.
And another one that kind of I was able to go actually over there to the play area to watch a little bit. There was a game between, I think it was Cats and Tubby the Fat, that went like an hour long or something like that. No, it definitely happened. So again, another one of those matches that if you're investigating VODs, definitely want to check that one out. Also, other memorable matches from yesterday. Well, which ones really stick out in your mind?
One of my favorite ones was QXC versus Deer and that first map. The first map where it was.
Were any of y'all here for QXC Deer? Okay.
That was an insane matchup. I mean, Deer, what was crazy about it is Deer went 2-0-2-0-2-0 versus guys like the SDC versus Stats. This was actually right before he 2-0'd Jaedong, but he was looking unstoppable. In game number 1, QXC came there, and Deer shut down the first harass he tried, and then he got it went back and forth, all the attacks went. Deer was a little bit ahead, but then QXC pulled up this masterful attack and just caught Deer Little in a superior position. Yep. And he was able to win that game, and that was just totally ecstatic. Yeah, and of course, unfortunately for QXC, he did go on to lose the next 2 games. Again, it is Deer. He is one of the best Protoss players out there, so no shame there. Again, QXC, tied with Huck for getting the furthest as far as North American players are concerned. So huge shout out to QXC and his performance yesterday. Also, I really enjoyed Polt versus Deer. That was one of my favorite matches from yesterday. So again, if you're looking at VODs and you missed it, that's definitely one you want to try to check out. One of those situations where Deer is looking unstoppable, and Polt just goes in and goes with the 2-0. And it wasn't like it was necessarily easy. It was multitasking in the matches was insane.
Exactly.
Like the level of play there was just outstanding from both sides. But Polt really showed himself to be a spectacular Terran versus Protoss player. It's
one of those things where it might have looked easy, and on paper you see the 2-0, and you're like, oh, Polt dominated him. It was a situation where Polt literally played perfectly to come up with that victory. Polt was on fire yesterday. Really excited to see how he does today. Of course, Naniwat versus Huck was a great match that happened. A lot of history between those two. Another VOD you want to check out. Again, all the Naniwat games ended up being pretty fantastic. Naniwat versus Polt as well is definitely one you want to check out. And Hyun versus Hero. That was a really awesome match, especially Game 3 on Akalon away. So back and forth. I was in the back there watching. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Hero, it felt like he was so far behind, but time and time again just had perfect engagements against one of the best Zerg players in the world, but he unable to hold on.
It was an absolutely amazing game. I mean, the whole series was pretty exciting. Games 1 and 2 were kind of one-sided from either player, but in Game 3, it looked like it might be just like Game 1, where Hyun is just crushing Hero. But then, like you said, he pulls off some brilliant engagements. Hit this one moment where, this squad of stalkers just kind of snuck behind enemy lines, sniped 2 hatcheries, sniped a couple overseers. I think they've even got a Viper. And there's Zerg converging from every angle. He tries to set up flanks, and they always blink in the perfect direction. Yeah. And I think a couple got picked off. Most of them returned home. And of course, the Protosses all said, "Hey guys, thanks for bringing us back in the game." And then the game went on for 20 more minutes or something insane.
And it started with a cannon rush. It literally started with a cannon rush. One of the things I used to do in Toddler Malts were building the cannon on the low ground and then kind of making my way to the high ground at the natural expansion. Really awesome match. Definitely go check that one out. Hyun versus Hero. Again, that was on the mainstream. The VODs, I think, are already on YouTube. YouTube.com/official MLG SC2. Be sure to check that out, of course. That's all yesterday, but today, of course, is what we're talking about right now as far as Championship Sunday. We have 8 players left. It's going to be electric. I'm super excited. And if you want to enjoy the stream in full 1080p HD. You can buy an HD pass, and here's what you get. No ads, access to 1080p live stream and archives, huge selection of subscriber-only emoticons to use in the Twitch chat, of course, a custom chat badge, and of course, all daily MLG content in 1080p ad-free. Only $9.99 for that HD pass, so be sure to check that out. That being said, what's our first match, Mr. Nick?
Our first match is the man himself, the Tyrant.
Oh, God.
Jaedong.
The men themselves, I think. Jaedong, of course,
You're
from
right.
Team Evil Geniuses, is going to be playing against Naniwa from the Alliance. And, guys, we are moments away. I'm kind of wiggling in my chair a little bit.
This is crazy. I mean, it's the Tyrant, the guy who just beat Stats, which is a huge win for him. It must give him confidence in his EVP. And he's up against the last non-Korean hope in this tournament. Of course, there's 8 players left. Nanawa, the only one not originally from Korea.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know a lot of people are hoping Nanawa wins, but of course, Jaedong, I mean, anyone who watched Brood or anyone who's a fan of Evil Geniuses, they've got to be cheering on Jaedong because this guy, he's been around for so long. He's won like 8 or 9 major Brood War events. I think 3 MSLs, 2 OSLs, like 2 or 3 WCGs, something else in there as well. I mean,
insane.
He's an absolute legend in Brood War. He almost won his first premier event at DreamHack for SC2.
Yes.
Fell just short.
You know, that was against Naniwa. The first DreamHack he played against Naniwa.
He actually fell just short twice, because just recently against Hero.
Yeah, of course, Jaedong and Naniwa have a lot of history as far as, I remember that specific DreamHack match where I think it was game 2. Naniwa went for the proxy 2 gate on Belshir Vestige. I remember it like it was yesterday because Jaedong kept going for the 3 hatches before a pull, and Naniwa was, you know what, you can't do that, man. I'm not going to let that happen. He goes for the proxy 2 gate, takes a risk, it works out. It ties up 1-1, and then in game 3, Jaedong goes for a pull, before this 3rd hatchery, and that's a situation where Naniwa was really comfortable, and Naniwa was able to take the victory there. So really iconic game between the two gentlemen at that DreamHack, and of course, DreamHack recently, Jaedong getting the finals, losing to Stardust, but Jaedong definitely is familiar with the main stage, and we'll have to see how well he can do today. Of course, guys, we have 6 matches scheduled today, starting off with Jaedong versus Naniwa. Then we're going to have the winner of Jaedong versus Naniwa versus Deer. Of course, the 3rd match will be the winner of Sage versus Sound against Hero, and then we're going to have semifinal A, semifinal B, and of course we'll be finishing up with our grand final. But guys, that's going to conclude our Dr. Pepper pregame show. This has been Axel Sauce and Axlab. Coming up next, we're going to have Naniwa versus Jaedong. Stay tuned.